Welcome to The State of Us.
Beyond mainstream cable news and party lines, with a millennial and a boomer, The State of Us pushes past the noise and uncovers all the issues that matter.
Here's your host, Justin T. Weller.
Retailers are set for back to school as students return to classrooms. Pent-up demand is expected to provide a strong buying season. And with it, credit card spending, that bill's going to come due. And Americans are spending on credit cards like never before. But guess what? They're doing something strange. They're paying them off. What does this mean for credit card companies? A Tesla Imitator is starting its journey. Tesla's not going to be the only startup electric vehicle maker anymore. And the military splurge isn't over. Despite what you may have heard, military spending is still looking like it's going to be very strong for some time to come. We've got a lot to talk about today in a mashup episode, but of course we could not begin this critical conversation without
TrueChat senior historian and an educator of more than 30 years. Here is your friendly redneck liberal, Lance Jackson.
One of my favorite times of year, you get to go pick out your new backpack and fill it with paper and pencils and erasers and get the new little cigar box to put all your crayons in and get to pick out that outfit that you're going to wear on the first day of school. Oh, we probably don't do that anymore, but you probably have to buy a computer and earbuds and a mask. But anyway, you got to love the start when it's time to buy stuff to go back to school. But we want to help you here not be so nescient or nescient, pronounced both ways. It's an adjective, Nescient, as the word of the day, and it means that you are lacking knowledge, and we're going to help you. We're going to provide the knowledge for you on what you need to know when you get out there economically. So don't be a nescient fool.
I figured we start with back to school. So here's the deal. Basically, Lance, we had COVID. And so last year's kind of back to school wasn't really the same.
It was a bit different. Yes,
it was a bit different. So this year, right, we got to make up for it because there's been all this stuff that we haven't gotten, all this spending we haven't done. And one survey showed that parents are expecting to spend 16% more on back-to-school shopping this year, a marked uptick from the 1% to 3% growth seen in recent years.
Makes sense.
Pent-up demand is one of the obvious reasons. Last year's college freshmen who attended school remotely, for example, will be setting up their dorm rooms for the first time this year alongside a new batch of freshmen. You've got almost 2 years' worth of pent-up needs, notes Marshall Cohen, Chief Industrial Advisor at NPD Group. For school-age children, parents who held off on new clothes, backpacks, or lunchboxes last year will find that they have to make those purchases this year. They have extra cash to do so. Expanded child tax credits began hitting bank accounts on July 15th. They amount to roughly $250 a month for children ages 6 to 17, or $83 extra a month compared with prior year levels. So you've got some more money to spend. You have some needs that you didn't have, and those are compounding together to look like we're going to see an uptick in back-to-school spending.
Well, like I said, my favorite thing, there's nothing better than a new box of crayons. It's just, I have to say that, even at my age, I love to get a fresh set of crayons. But as you look at the chart here with spending on the article, and remember, the article is linked at the State of Us if you want to look at this, but what I found interesting in this is that basically fiscal year 2020 and 2021, the amount of money spent on clothing and accessories and school supplies are the same. Where we're seeing that 16% uptick is in electronic gadgets, computers, and hardware, and still COVID-related items. So it's interesting. You talked about it being different, but I remember teaching online last year. We still had kids who had to get school supply. Our students still had to get supplies to do their work, even though they were going to be working online. So it's interesting that the uptick in spending has to do with in the areas of electronic gadgets, computer and hardware, and COVID-related items over last year.
Well, and it's interesting because when you do look at the chart, you see that actually clothing and accessories is projected to be about a little bit maybe almost identical, I think, actually, to
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
to what it was
They're
last year.
almost the same, right? I mean, those two things are almost the same, but we see a 16% increase. That 16% increase is coming from, other areas.
Yeah, so you've definitely got, obviously, there was no COVID-related items in 2019. In 2020, you have some, expecting more in 2021, computer and hardware being big, electronic gadgets, and an uptick in school supplies. But really, that almost looks pretty comparable, Lance, to what it was in 2019 or 2018 in terms of your school supplies per se, right? Because to your point, people still had to have some of that stuff. Maybe not as much of it. They definitely didn't have to have probably those many clothing and accessories, right? Because we're staying inside. We're not going out and seeing people. Our Gen Zers, they don't need to be wearing the highest fashion right now. So not that all of them do anyway, but, they don't need as many maybe new items as they did before.
What's interesting is that we saw a record low of imports. We talked about, last year with COVID, people, hoarding toilet paper and running out. But we're seeing the same thing, that many things like shoes and apparel are not being shipped into the country. And lo and behold, the infamous backpack imports were down 15.2% last year over the same period in 2019. So, if you don't go early, maybe you don't get stuff, right? You got to shop early. So there's what they're telling you. If you haven't already gotten your materials, you better get out there and get them, because you might find the pickings kind of slim.
One of the things that's interesting is not necessarily as a result of this at all, but kind of in the same vein, is that we're seeing this uptick in credit card spending. And Lance, for those of you that don't know, right, our listeners at home, Lance loves credit cards. He thinks that they're pretty much
fabulous, one
of the greatest inventions that mankind has ever come up with. But this one is interesting because when you read the initial part, it's like, oh, okay, credit cards are skyrocketing, right? The article basically says that at Capital One Financial, purchase volume on its domestic cards was up 25% in the second quarter of 2021 from what it was in the same period in 2019, right? So before the pandemic, it's up 25%. Even travel and entertainment purchasing in June was up 3% versus 2019. American Express reported Friday that consumer travel and entertainment this June was 98% of what it was 2 years ago, almost completely recovered from where it was in 2019. And American Express reported Friday that consumer travel and entertainment this June was 98% of what it was 2 years ago, so almost completely recovered. And that across consumers and businesses, travel and entertainment reached about 70% versus 2019 toward the end of the second quarter. That is a faster recovery than Amex had originally anticipated.
Yeah, but you know what's cool though?
Yeah, well, here's the...
Yeah, we're sticking it to the man. We're sticking it to the man because...
Lance likes credit cards when we stick it to the man.
Even though people are spending just as much as they always were, they're paying off their credit cards rather than building balances that generate interest payments. That's it, sticking it to the man, because that's what they don't want you to do, people. Yeah, pay off that balance. I've used a credit card for free for the last 37 years. And you say, how do you get it for free? Well, you pay off the entire balance every month. So I use the credit card company's money for 30 days, and then I pay it off. Never have once paid an interest payment or a late fee on my credit card. So you use their money so your money can sit in the bank and earn interest. I love it when I can stick it to the man.
So average domestic card loans at Capital One during the second quarter were down 10% from the same period in 2019. The company on Thursday said that while payment rates were easing a bit recently, they're still running at really quite a breathtaking level. So the reason that this is a challenge, right, for credit card companies, Lance, is because the thinking behind the credit card is that they give you this money to use, right, and then we're going to charge you interest on it and make money.
Right.
And if you're running a higher balance, we make more money. Well, the problem is people are running higher balances, right, taking more of their available credit out, but they're turning around and paying it off.
You went to your favorite local place and you bought your school supplies and you spent $100 and you put it on the credit card. And at 17, 18, 22% interest, you paid $122 for that stuff, even though it only cost you $100 because you paid their interest over a year. But hey, they only charged you $10 a month. So, That's great. You can afford $10 a month. You couldn't afford $100. I understand the concept, but the point is you paid $122 for the $100 worth of stuff. We need cash. I love it. Went to a local food emporium and went through the drive-thru, and they said, "I'm sorry, sir, but we just want to let you know that you can only have cash today." And I said, "No problem. I got cash. Our computer's down. We can't accept credit cards." I'm like, "Not going to get it from me, so don't worry about it. It's the way we need to go back." You know how much money you have to spend if you put it in your pocket, and when it's gone, you say, "Well, I can't spend any more money." When you have a credit card, you keep putting more money on it, and all you're doing is putting yourself in the hole and making money for somebody else.
Another notable oddity is that with an extended period of basically pretty tame credit spending and big spending with no borrowing might actually generate problems. Notably, it could actually encourage a lot of competition, and spenders tend to be very focused on rewards. Wells Fargo recently jump-started its card business with a new cashback offering and plans more. And I can tell you that I just learned the other day, Lance, that Chase Bank is revamping two of its very heavily reward-based cards. Their Sapphire cards, their Reserve and Preferred cards. So the companies, right, are looking at this, and you might say, well, that doesn't sound bad, right? Well, it's probably good for you, the consumer, especially if you're one of those people like Lance that's paying off that card, right, every month. Get the points, pay off the card, very beneficial. But if you're one of those people not doing that, depending on how it's restructured, it could cause you some challenges as well.
Well, I mean, if your significant other or your parental unit works at one of these credit card places, I'm sure that you want to see the credit cards doing well because that is providing sustenance for your well-being. But for the rest of us, yeah, I understand the whole concept of big purchases. You can't make it. You buy on time, you pay the interest. But boy, credit cards they're not charging you.
That's what the cash in your mattress is for, though,
3,
right?
4, 5. Well, I don't tell people that because somebody might come looking for it.
Okay.
But yes, that is true. That's what the big purchases, that's what that money is for. But it's that whole concept of how much interest they're charging that really bothers me. And understand too, people, that there are places where you use your credit card, you actually pay a fee to the business because they carry the credit card, because the credit card charges the company a fee to set them up on that credit card. So like if you go, there are places where you can get a discount for cash.
For as long as cash is around.
That's okay. When the big blackout comes and all the satellites are blown out of the sky and nobody can use credit cards, cash will be big and I will be king.
All right, there's your conspiracy theory for the day. And we've got more to talk about, some wrap up on credit card spending, also looking at a Tesla Imitator starting its journey. Lucid Motors is underway. And also the military splurge in spending isn't over either. More to talk about on the economy and what it means to you. Keep it here on The State of Us. We'll be right back.
We are The State of Us. Here's your host, Justin T. Weller.
Retailers are getting ready for back to school, Lance, and we've talked about credit card spending is going way up. People are putting more on credit cards, but what are they doing that they haven't done before? They're paying them off.
Good for them.
And that's pretty exciting. So Rhett and I actually just got a new credit card a couple of months ago, and haven't had a new credit card in years. Got everything that we had on them once is completely paid off. So the new card we got is to stick it to the man, as Lance might say. So, and we've been very successful at that so far. Had a great entry bonus on it. Put a lot of things on there that you can maximize your points with. So I guess the caveat is I would tell people, right, credit cards don't have to be bad, but they require discipline if you want to make the most use of them. And if you don't feel like you have that discipline, then you maybe should wait to get a credit card, because what you don't want is to get trapped. And we hear about that all the time, right? People well, I'm going to put this purchase on here and I should be able to pay it off in 3 months. And well, you miss a payment and then all of a sudden you're paying more in interest than you are for the payment. And it's like, oh man, I thought I was only going to pay like $100 a month and I'm paying $200 and I can't pay $200. I can only pay $58 because that's what I thought the minimum payment is. And then it takes you 10 years to pay off, a $2,000 purchase when it should have taken a year or maybe 2.
Well, and the problem is if the people like you and Brett, if we all did that, then those offers wouldn't be made available by the credit card companies.
Because they have to make money.
Right, because they're in the business to make money, and that's what you have to understand. It's like if the old saying, Vegas exists because Vegas wins the house wins most of the time. So you got to know when you go there that if you're playing their game, they're probably going to get you. You have to be very careful with what you do, as you pointed out, when dealing with credit cards, so you don't get sucked into that trap.
There are some interesting things, Lance, that I'll mention that are coming around. A lot of the major banks have just started this. If you have a credit card with them, you can now do like a payment plan after you make a large purchase. And then initially, this sounds kind of interesting. I mean, it intrigued me. It's basically this idea, okay, that say that you went out and made a $200 purchase, Lance, and they flag it and say, hey, that's over $150. We can put this on a payment plan for you. What you agree to do is make a fixed payment as part of your credit card payment on that plan. And the selling point is you're going to have it paid off in 6 months because we've structured it that way. And the best part, Lance, the best part is that there's no fees. No fees. Now, clever here, though, it doesn't mean there's no interest. You do generally get to pay a lower interest rate. So instead of paying that 22, 24%, whatever it is, you're only going to have to pay 9, 12%, something like that. But the way they do it, Lance, is, and you really have to dig into this, you can't find the percentage that you pay very easily. What happens is you log into your app, right? It says, hey, this purchase qualifies for a payment plan. Click here. You don't have to pay anything up front. Here's what your payment's going to be each month. Sounds great, except you're on the payment plan, right? And there's no fees. There's no fees. But no fees doesn't mean no interest. And they don't show you, unless you do a little digging into the fine print, what you're actually paying in interest. And in fact, Lance, I could not find the 2 banks that we use, which are 2 of the nation's largest banks, okay? I could not find in either of their payment plans a place where it told you the interest rate. Rather, it simply told you what the monthly payment was, and you could dig into what's the total that you're going to pay in interest.
Well, that's good marketing, right? If you do it on your regular credit card bill, you're going to end up paying $250 for this purchase. But if you do it in our new plan, which costs you nothing to apply for, you're only going to pay $225.
Well, you don't even have to apply because if you got the credit card, right, you already have access to
but
it.
you have you get a 25% or $25 savings. Yep. So it's like, oh, that's perfectly good sense. Yeah. Remember, folks, if you'd have paid cash or paid off the credit card at the end of the month, you would have only paid $200 for it.
Exactly. You would have paid the exact cost of what it costs.
That's just good marketing, right? Yeah. I mean, they show you, here's what it's going to cost if you do this on our regular credit card. But if you go to our new payment plan, which is free to you, then you save this much in interest. And never are they promoting the fact that you pay off the entire credit card and you don't pay any interest.
Right. Well, because the way they make money is by you carrying a balance and them charging you interest on it, which they make money on. And I think the side of this, I guess, that's worth saying is if you know you're going to use your credit card, right, for an expense that you want to pay off, right? I don't have the money to pay it off at the end of the month. So that option that Lance has presented us isn't an option, right? I want to buy this thing or I need to buy it. Maybe it's an emergency, whatever. And you don't have an emergency fund and you're going to use the credit card. I mean, you've decided it's going on the card. Then I think that is a place where you use a payment plan like this because the benefit is you are going to save money by doing this, generally speaking. Can't say that that's always the case because some people pay it if you pay it off fast enough at the higher interest rate, you actually save money because you paid it off faster than going on a fixed rate plan over time. But generally speaking, the rule of thumb would be I would go with the plan if you know you're going to put it on the credit card, don't pay the 22%, pay 9 to 10 to 12%, on a fixed thing and you're going to get it paid off.
Is there a penalty for early payment?
That would depend on the bank. At least the one that I had looked into, no, there's no There's no penalty to pay it off early.
So even though they said I had to pay $40 a month, if I got a bonus at work or I did some DoorDash and made an extra $100, I could go ahead and pay it off without being penalized for the early payoff.
But they bank on most people not doing that, right? But yes, you're right.
But no, that used to be a ploy.
Yeah.
Is that, well, we'll give you this loan and we'll give you this rate. But if you try to pay it off early, then we're going to charge you this much interest because you tried to pay it off early.
Here's all these fees.
I'm just making sure that didn't, wasn't in the fine print somewhere.
But that's a good thing for people to look at, right? Because if you're thinking, well, I'm going to take this and then maybe, in a month or two, I get my tax return or something, I'm going to pay it off, but they're going to charge you a bunch. You need, just all these things to consider, right? It's not impossible to beat the credit card companies at their game. And they know that it's not. I mean, they know that there's people like Lance out there and they're okay with that, because again, they win most of the time. So Lance, a little bit of a shift, but let's look at Tesla.
Well, you might want to put this on a credit card, right?
Well, I suppose you might put this on. You'd have to have a pretty big credit limit and you'd be paying crazy interest, but maybe, right? Maybe you put your down payment on the credit card. Okay. Yeah, I ain't got the money for a down payment. I want a new car, so I'm going to put the down payment on my credit card, right? Sounds like a great idea. But the deal is that Lucid Motors, for those of you that don't know, is as the article dubs them, a Tesla wannabe. Lucid had made its trading debut just a couple weeks ago, and the price has risen pretty substantially. They have a market value of $43 billion based on a rough estimate. And the reason this is notable, aside from $43 billion, is a substantive valuation for a company that hasn't sold any cars. Isn't that crazy, Lance? Just think about that.
Their stock goes up 10% and you haven't even sold a product yet.
Yep.
You don't even have a product available to buy.
Well, but they're closer, Lance. They're closer to selling vehicles than any other electric vehicle startup, okay? So their whole pitch is electric vehicles, right? Like Tesla, they're not looking to ever make a, gas or diesel powered vehicle. Everything that rolls out is going to be fully electric. We know that Tesla has struggled with issues for years of production and meeting demand. And a lot of times, depending on the type of Tesla you're ordering, you have to wait a while before you get it, right? They've always lauded out there, and I don't mean for this to sound overly critical of Tesla. I think we're just pointing out some of the challenges that a new startup like this is going to face. For those of you that aren't familiar, the way you buy a Tesla, 99% of people that buy a Tesla, you go to their website, right? And you choose what you want and you pay your $100 or $200 deposit. And then in a little while, they'll contact you and say, hey, you're up in the queue. Here's how much you owe. And we either help you get it financed or, you just pay us outright. And then a little while after that, you'll actually get your vehicle, right? They'll deliver it to you. It sounds pretty good. And if you could go from end to end in under a month with that, I think you might really have something. And I know that's Tesla's goal, right? We know that that's where they'd like to get to, is a super quick turnaround. But right now, the reality is that most Americans are used to, I've decided I need to buy a car. And usually within a week or two, you've got a new car, right? Maybe you do a little shop, maybe same day. Once you've made the decision, maybe you go get it, right? Because you go to the dealership, you find one that you like, and you drive off the lot with it. And we're done. It might be a whole day affair, right? Because we got a lot of paperwork and if you got a trade in and your loan and all this. But, usually and within 4 or 5 hours, if you've decided you're going to go get a car, you can probably have a car. And the biggest thing with the startups that I think is going to be a challenge for folks is, are you willing to wait?
Where do I buy a Lucid? Right? I didn't even know they existed. Other than when I saw the IPO come out.
Their website, Lance.
And, so there's not a showroom anywhere.
Well, they might have.
Other than on my computer screen.
Some. They might have some.
Tesla
has a few showrooms.
Well, but that's the biggest thing, right? Because I know even when you bought your electric cars, you went to the lot and saw what your choices were. You saw the physical choice. And I know they're trying to get us away from this. I see those commercials where, Carvana and different places, you order it online and they deliver it to your house and all that kind of stuff. But it's like...
It makes Lance nervous.
Your friendly
he wants to kick the tires.
I still want to see it. Yeah, I still want to know that it actually exists, that it's there. I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars. I want to see it. I want to have a choice Do I get the white one, the blue one, the red one?
Well, see, the beauty they would tell you of ordering it online and waiting is that you get to choose everything, right? You're never going to get stuck at a dealership where it has 80% of what I want, so I guess it's good enough.
Yeah, but then I get to dicker with them.
You're going to get everything.
You don't have the color I want, so you want me to take this one, then I want 10% off.
Yeah, but see, and even the dealerships, right, are moving away from that model of, the last time that I bought a vehicle, there was a little negotiation, but almost none. And
that takes all the fun out of it.
But see, that's a lot of people don't want that, right?
All those years of harnessing my skills.
Well, we got all these, in fairness, right? If you heard in the intro, you've got your boomer and your millennial, but we've got, so I'm speaking as a millennial, all these millennials and Gen Zers that are anxious, nervous, negotiating with some crusty salesman doesn't sound particularly appealing, right? Because maybe you're going to get screwed over that way.
What are you anxious or nervous about?
They know what they're talking about and that you're going to look stupid.
Well, that's a you problem.
But see, that's this whole model.
You got to get over that.
I've got it up here for you, Lance. Look at here, the Lucid Air.
I see it.
This is the one that's coming. 500 plus mile range, projected range, they say. $69,900, 1,080 horsepower in that little vehicle there, Lance.
Yep. No, the starting price is $70,000.
Starting. Got to keep an eye on it, right?
Read those small prints, right? The model shown is, $75,000.
Here we go.
It's whatever.
So we were going to reserve ours, and see here, look, fully refundable reservation, fully refundable. So no risk. We've got the Air Pure, which that's your $69,900. We can go up to $87,500.
There you go.
I don't really see what happens here if we go up to here. 406 mile range. Oh, look, only 620 horsepower. We go up to the top notch, 800 horsepower, 517 mile range, $131,000 for that car. Yeah,
looks sweet.
Yeah, Lance likes it though. Well, it better look sweet for $131,000.
I'll have to dig into the spare mattress.
That's more than some people's house. So, yeah, you're gonna have to go dig up that cash in the backyard, right? So, anyway, I think the point here is that there's a lot of these startups. It's going to be very interesting to see though what happens with them, because we've seen GM, Ford, they're getting very serious, right, about electric vehicles, and they have the know-how from literally 100 plus years experience of how to make this happen.
Well, they already have the building, right? They have the assembly lines. They all of that infrastructure pieces. They already have that.
The dealership.
You don't think this is going to become in vogue? Just Carvana and ordering online? And
I think it will eventually. But the point is, the transition is going to take time, and you have a whole generation of millennials that are still going to buy another at least 5, maybe more vehicles in their life. And they're used to, the only way they got their first vehicle was to go to a dealership, right? You couldn't order your first car online, almost probably none of them. So I think that you've got that ingrained same thing, change. We were talking about that earlier today, right?
It'll be gradual.
The dealerships are going to hold on for a while because it's also going to be a benefit, though, I think, to keeping the mainstream car manufacturers as part of the future of cars, because people are going to still expect, I want it now, I'm going to go get it, And in fairness, that's what happened with the 2 vehicles I got. I got 2 electric vehicles. They're from a mainstream car manufacturer. I went to 2 different traditional dealerships to buy both of them. And they were the car that was on the lot, right? I didn't order it online. Now, I will say, I did find both cars online and had already decided it was the car that I wanted before I went to the dealership. So I think that's a marked, it is changing, right? Well, maybe I'm not to the point where I'm going to press buy now online, but I'm willing to decide on the car and then make the final decision once I've arrived at the dealership and see it.
Well, let's be fair here. I have bought a car online almost 10 years ago. I was online and I said, you got this car for this price. Is that real? Well, yeah, that's our internet price. And I said, what do you mean an internet price? And they said, well, we advertise that on the internet. And I said, so I can buy that car for that price? Well, yes, but you have to come here to pick it up. I said, okay, I'm there.
I'll be here.
And I drove the 60 miles and I got it for that price because it was, 20% less than it was anywhere else. But that was just, they did that because they wanted to try to get us on the lot and then upsell us.
Right.
But I was looking for that car, so it was like, okay, well, this is for real. So I've actually been through the process. I know we tease me quite a bit about being
So
old.
even a boomer has okay.
And I did it before you bought cars. I mean,
Right, well, see, there you go.
I did it, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that would have been close to, well, see, okay, here's one of those little tidbits for folks. I had my first car before I was legally allowed to drive it. And you're like, whoa, you mean you were driving illegally? No, my family lives on a farm. My grandpa gave me his old truck. So, I mean, I was driving it, 14 or 15, and there was no dealership involved at all. But, and it was a hunk of junk. But, it's pretty cool to have a car. So, anyway, we've got more to talk about. The military splurge, right, Lance? Looks like big things are happening there. What is going on? Because we hear about, maybe the defense budget's being cut, but people are still optimistic about all these defense contractors. Their shares are going to keep going up. So what's happening? Well, to find out, keep it here on The State of Us. We'll be right back.
We are The State of Us. Here's your host, Justin T. Weller.
Lucid Motors back to school. And, of course, credit card spending. We've talked about a lot so far, but to top it all off, the military splurge isn't over. What's really going on here? I mean, what's the situation? What's the size of it?
The total budget amount is down $2 billion. It'll fall to 246 to 248. But it depends on where you're going, Some airplanes are being cut, but other airplanes are being bought to replace old ones that are going out. So, and a lot of this, because what's causing people consternation is that, well, if the military is going to be cut under a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress, which has yet to be proven, but that's what a lot of people think, the stock market's already adjusted prices for that. And so now when the budget comes out and we see that it's not going to be as big a cuts in the defense fund as we thought, then the market is starting to do better in the defense area. And so it's just that, we have to have so much of it, as we were talking about off air, so much of it is already spent. It's contracts that have already been there, are in place, will be in place into the future. And so when people start worrying about, defense contractors aren't going to make money and we're going to see the S&P or the Dow drop because these companies the government's not going to buy as much stuff and they're going to have to start laying people off. It doesn't appear that that's the truth, that because of the pandemic and some other things, there are still enough spending that we are going to see basically the same amount of spending at, for example, in the chart, Lockheed Martin, that we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years, and is still greater than every year except last year into 2022.
We always talk about the military, and it is a substantial part of the discretionary portion of the budget. You want to explain to people, what do we mean? Military is discretionary?
Well,
you mean we don't have to spend money on the military?
The entitlement programs that we have are basically pretty much, you would say, set in stone. They are 80% of the budget.
Required spending.
And we say set in stone because neither side wants to take them on and revamp them, even though we could probably do a better job and save money in the long run. Nobody wants to touch Social Security or Medicaid or Medicare. And so therefore, those programs just continue to roll over year after year after year at whatever the cost is. So the discretionary money then is the other 20% of the budget, and that's what we hear all the arguments about. That's the new infrastructure bill that we're talking about, or the super infrastructure bill that the Democrats want to pay for, where, child care and babysitting is part of infrastructure in their plan as well. But that's where we see the arguments. 80% of the budget, Democrats and Republicans agree upon every year after year because they don't want to upset their constituents, those people who vote for them, because they're talking about projects and things that we as Americans have come to expect.
$2 billion from the military's purchase budget, not big when you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. $2 billion is not a very substantial change. I told Lance, You have to do
well,
the
now
math.
we're talking about trillions, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a number that I never even heard of. To me, billion was huge. Now we talk about billions. You just said it. That's a drop of the hat of the budget.
Yeah, just $2 billion.
Because we're talking about trillions. We're talking about infrastructure bill that's over $1 trillion. We're talking about pandemic money that we've spent that was in the trillions of dollars, bailout money. So when you talk about 1 or 2 billion, that's still more money than most of us can even imagine ever seeing, much less having. But it's not big in the context of the entire budget of the United States.
So I guess the point is, and this is the thing to understand, is that it's really not that big of a change. And as the article points out, a lot of these defense contractors, right, are planning ahead anyway. They're saying, they may not spend it this year, but they're going to spend it at some point, right? I mean, we're aware of these things that are going out of date or this new technology we got coming down the road, and they're going to want it, and they're going to buy it. So they spend $2 billion less, for fiscal year 2021 or 2022. Who cares? I mean, in the grand scheme of their lives, it doesn't make a big difference because they know they're going to make it at some point.
And yet it says, as the article, as for Lockheed, the Bethesda, Maryland-based company remains well-positioned in space and hypersonics, areas in which spending is almost certain to increase to keep pace with China and Russia. There's always that outlier, right? There's always what's everybody else doing, and all it takes is one major event in the world, and all of a sudden the federal government says, well, we need these. And then we turn to these companies to build them. Which is to your point, right? We don't know when the next major military conflagration could take place. And so we have to stay ready. And we are going to stay ready. And then a lot of it has to be done with, well, what are those people who are challenging us to be a world power, or who would like to challenge us to be a world power? I think that's more the case with Russia. They would like to be able to challenge us. But we have to keep pace. We can't let them get ahead of us. So that's going to increase spending. So there are some, as you said, things in there that cause spending to happen, even if you try to cut the budget by 1 or 2 billion.
Either way you slice it, we're not talking about major reductions here. And in some cases in the coming years, there may very well be substantive increases. So plenty to keep in mind there. But the reason that we talk about all this stuff, Lance, right? Because there's a lot of different things today. I mean, sometimes when we do these episodes with multiple topics, they're all closely related. Today's theme's kind of the economy, right? And all these different things that have an impact on us financially. But why did we have this conversation today?
Well, because we're trying to keep people from being nascent. We want them to be knowledgeable about these things. And so we do that here at True Chat by educating people, by providing honest, open, and respectful conversations. And we've done that today. And you say, well, it maybe wasn't sexy, but at the same time, hey, you get to go back. I'm telling you, find that nice outfit to wear. It can be a game changer when you go back to school. But if you like today's episode and you learn something from it and you share it with your office mates or your family and they say, well, where can we listen to this great show? Tell them we're on Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found.
The State of Us is available Tuesdays and Thursdays by 4 a.m. Eastern Time as a podcast. And we can be heard on the weekends in select talk radio markets around the country. So check your local AM and FM station. For The State of Us on True Chat in Urbana, Ohio, I'm Justin T. Weller.
I'm Lance Jackson.
Special thanks to our producer, Bradley Butch, and thank you all, our audience, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Be the change. Be sure to check out our website, thestateofus.org, for books, articles, and all the ways to tune in. thestateofus.org.